Today we have a new person for the next episode. It's Chris from New Age Lettings. How are you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm amazing. I'm
Great.
amazing. Let's dive straight into it. So I have prepared a few questions for you. So what type of properties you typically do, and actually, what is New Age Lettings? Can you dive into it?
Yeah, so I'll start with what New Age Lessons is. So New Age Lessons, we actually do various things within the property sector. So we act as a standard estate agent. So we rent properties on behalf of landlords and typically manage them. But we also do rent to rent, which I think we're kind of talking about, you know, before we started. So where we rent properties from landlords and give them guaranteed rent. So we do both long-term rentals, management, and short-term rentals.
And how has it been? You guys been struggling recently, or business been growing?
No, I wouldn't say we've struggled. What I would say though is in terms of the long-term rental has been pretty consistent. In terms of the short-term rental, it sort of peaked at 2022, just after things opened and the
After
market was really,
COVID,
yeah,
yeah.
it was really booming. And then since then it's been sort of like dropping steadily, I'd say year on end. But recently, from what I can see anyway, it looks like it's sort of like more stabilized and is going to go back to normal levels.
It could be some changes in laws, I believe.
I
So,
mean, yeah.
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 You actually mentioned COVID. So I know that our company, we were struggling quite a lot with COVID. So I was wondering, how did you guys manage to survive? Because I know so many companies drowned literally because of all these lockdowns. People couldn't go to properties, just check them out, sell them. How did you guys survive?
Yeah, we definitely struggled during COVID. It was quite a challenging time. But what I would say is that we sort of took the initiative fairly quickly. As soon as we saw it coming from the March, we prepared a long email letting landlords know, managing their expectations. And it was mostly just about communication that we survived. So, we had some agreements with landlords, agreements with tenants, and we were just extremely flexible. We definitely lost a lot of money to be honest,
Who
but
didn't?
we were
Yeah.
we were able to, and luckily we had such a good relationship with sort of like clients, tenants, landlords, so we're able to sort of power through. But it was definitely difficult times.
It's amazing to hear because communication is always the key. Because I just know so many people, so many agencies basically shut down after COVID. I'm just glad that you guys survive.
Yeah.
Regarding your agency, I was thinking, what are your main clients? Are they like private clients, landlords? Who you typically deal with?
So typically our clients tend to be, I mean, we do have some UK-based clients, but our clients tend to be investors, so multi-landlords that are based overseas. So they essentially don't want the hassle of, dealing with their portfolio. So then we manage it. So that's the bulk of our clients. And like I said, in terms of the people we actually rent to, professionals or short-term, holiday makers.
All right, you guys basically based in London, or you're all over the place?
Yeah, primarily in London. We do have some properties more around like the Kent area, but that's, to be honest, just from landlords we're already dealing with, so we sort of took them on. But primarily in London, zones one mostly and zone two, so mostly
Oh, it's
central.
very central. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
mostly
very
central.
nice.
Yeah.
Uh, so I just want to ask some questions about challenges as well. So what are the recent biggest challenges you guys have faced? Maybe some changes in laws.
So I would say, like, in terms of, because I would need to talk about both. So in terms of the short-term rentals, I'd say like just in terms of the margins going down, but I think that's going to stabilize. In terms of the long-term rentals, we are yet to face any real challenges. But like as you mentioned with the laws, it's unavoidable. I think the challenges are coming.
Oh,
They're not here yet, but they're definitely coming with the new renters' right bill. 100%.
and what's the biggest change so far you noticed is?
So right now we're just actually in the process of, funny you should say this, of having a sit down, sort of like how we did, with COVID, be in front of it. We just started to come up with a plan to have a sit down with our clients and our landlords and say, look, this is how it can impact you. So no one is really talking about it yet or taking it seriously.
So you're playing it smart. You're preparing already, yeah?
Exactly. And with the renters' right bill, the the struggle really is going to be, for example, the tenants can give a month's notice, to vacate the property. That's going to be a big one because, like I said, a lot of these landlords, they're multi-landlords. They just don't want the hassle of dealing with it. And if you have to potentially re-rent your property every month, okay, how likely is it our tenant's going to leave every month? Maybe not likely, but you're still exposed. So there's no real security from the
So it's
um,
better to be a tenant than a renter at this point. Like,
100%. I think, people have this thing with legislation. Is it useful? Is it not? And I think mostly legislation that's been passed over the time in terms of, the property sector is been to safeguard tenants. So there was quite a few years back the agency fees. So before agents were able to charge a fee,
I remember that, yeah.
exactly. And there was this big thing about it. But personally, I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing because if you're truly honest, the agents are getting paid from the landlord, so then charging the tenants. So I can kind of see, or the capping the security deposit to, let's say, 5 weeks. I also think,
That's very fair.
that's beneficial. But now, I do think it's coming into a territory of providing security for tenants whilst completely negating landlords. So I think it's starting to go into a territory of not really being fair, if I'm honest.
So I guess my question was, but I think that you already answered, like if these new changes make your life easier or harder. I think it's just harder, isn't it?
Definitely harder. Yeah.
So, so how much more paperwork do you have to do right now because of all these changes as well?
So like I said, at the moment, not a lot, but we're going to start having a conversation with landlords to sort of prepare. In terms of paperwork, it's not really a lot you can do because the three biggest one I just mentioned was they can leave, given a month's notice. Another one is rather than 2 months, they now need to owe rent for 3 months before you can even start, an eviction process. So,
Oh,
what sort of paperwork do you really do
yeah,
for
yeah,
that?
yeah.
I think it's just going to be managing landlords' expectations essentially and coming up with, do you know what? Maybe it works out. Maybe tenants are nothing really changes,
I
but
think it
it's
might work out in benefit for you as well. But that's I'm not a predictor, but I'm just saying. Look at this. So these laws are helping tenants, but that might be the tenants actually are gonna be better as well. We treat them better, and they're gonna be better to you as well. So it's not gonna be that they just leave after 1 month. This is just my hope.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not essentially that they're going to leave after 1 month. It's just the fact that they can leave after 1 month.
They
So
can.
if you rent your property, usually you have an agreement. You're like, okay, I know for this year, my property is secure. I know what sort of incomes because people see landlords as having, infinite wealth or something, especially if they're based in London. But some of them, that's actually their source of income. That's what they rely on. So now there's this uncertainty that, oh, actually, maybe my tenant can just leave at any moment. It's going to be uncertain. I don't even know how that's going to be factored in when it comes to mortgages in the future, because usually they want to see a long-term tenancy,
Yeah.
So I think there's going to be a lot of knock-on effects that I don't know. We haven't really,
You, you
taken
think it's
into
gonna
account.
affect the prices as well? Because obviously you're gonna have to cover with the empty flats just standing and not being rented out.
And I think, which if I'm being upfront, I think what it's going to do is actually going to dissuade a lot of people from. It's going to dissuade a lot of landlords. So I think they properties are there's going to be more properties in the market for sale.
For selling,
This
yeah.
is, but I do kind of think that that's what the point is, if I'm, because there is obviously a housing crisis in London, and I think they're trying to legislate their way into dealing with it, as opposed to, I don't know, building more houses. So it's like they're
Hmm.
essentially controlling the assets of the landlords and say, look, I know you bought this house. For as an example, with the Section 21 notice, if I have a contract with you for a year, we both had an agreement, you stay in the property for a year. After a year, I can have my property back. Now they're saying no, even after the contract is expired, they can just stay on. The only way you can get rid of
Definitely.
them is if, you want to sell or you want to move back in. you
That
know?
sounds so unfair towards you guys.
Yeah,
Y-
definitely.
And are landlords more? Well, actually, yeah, you already mentioned about the landlords. I was just thinking, we were talking about renting right now. Are you guys planning to go into buying and selling properties as well?
Yeah, not to be honest, not into. I guess I've done sales previously, but not into buying and selling. We're actually shifting our strategy coming into the new year, more buying and holding.
Buying and
Yeah,
holding, so
so
investing, yeah.
buying and holding. That's what we'll be looking to do essentially.
So
Yeah,
you're there to expand.
yeah.
So because of these changes, are landlords asking you more questions, and are you educating them as well?
So this is what I'm saying. Honestly,
Or
landlords right now, they're not. It's not. It's like so. It's peripheral, you know. So they're not really. Um, we haven't really had a lot of landlords come to us and go, "Hey, by the way, what you're going to do about it?" A few, and to be honest, the ones that are speaking are they've been in the game for a long time, 20, 30
more
years.
experienced?
They're more experienced landlords. They're coming. We've had conversations with those, and to be honest, what they're trying to do is they're trying to go into like more short-term rentals or trying to find a way of changing the contractors to make it not an AST, but it doesn't really work. Yeah, so from those landlords, yeah, but from your day-to-day, everyday landlords, this is what I'm saying. It's not every landlord has a massive portfolio, has this engine running. So from the day-to-day, not really. They're not really following it. They're not really like looking at this
They're a
legislations.
bit clueless,
But this
yeah.
is why, for example, as soon as we come to the new year, we're going to be putting things in place to actually reach out to them and say, hey, look, this is because before the bill wasn't really set in stone, right? But now it's essentially official. It's gonna be taking place.
For 2026, I think they're gonna
Exactly in
change,
May.
yeah.
In May, it's going to be taking effect. So now you can't ignore it. You know.
Yeah. So looking ahead, do you think these regulations will push the agencies to become more professional and other landlords? You think it might affect it positively, all the market?
I think the only real positive changes I can think of would be in the sense of the landlords doing the works maintenance, because there is this part of, let's say, some landlords, especially when they have a very central property, very easy to rent, they're just like, oh, do you know what, I'm not going to do anything. And the agents, you're trying to push them, look, you have to do it, but they don't want to do it. So I think in that sense, yes, but I still stand by, you didn't need all this extra regulations about the moving out after a month, or
Yeah.
you're not being able to evict the tenants even after the contract is over. You could have essentially maybe focused more on that bit, and then that could have had the effect without, you know,
Hmm.
restricting the landlord's freedom.
And have you noticed any changes in tenant expectations as well?
Again,
Not yet.
yeah,
Not well. Yeah, it's not in place yet.
not yet. But yeah, I think that's going, because tenants, I think rightfully, they do have a lot of power when it comes to the rental. But this is the thing with power in general, it can be abused. And this is what we need to be aware of. And like I'm saying, for example, we've had tenants in the past where they don't pay rent, and then you have to take them to court, and then just the process of you taking them to court, sometimes it lasts for 6 months, 8 months, so if you had that extra month now, it's just, I don't think it's necessary. So I think there are going to be some tenants that are going to be taking advantage of the situation, in the sense that they know, well, we can just do what we want, or
Because
we can just
how does it work right now? So basically, if a tenant doesn't pay rent, you can't just evict them, right?
oh,
I
no,
know
no,
it's like no fault eviction, but
no.
you cannot touch them, right?
Now you got to go through the court process, and
My God.
that's a long process, and it can be stretched out essentially. And then and the crazy things, then after it's all done, they can just leave the property, maybe owing 5 6 months rent. Then you got to go through a money claim, but in the meantime, yeah. And this is what I'm saying. And if you're a multi-landlord and you have a lot of properties, maybe, but if that's your only asset and that's what you're relying on, it can be, yeah,
That sounds
can be
like a
quite
risky
tricky.
business, you know.
Yeah.
And how do you stay up to date with all these changes? Like,
Honestly, we just like read various sites. We're just constantly reading legislations. Yeah,
Can you even follow up with all the changes? You know, it's crazy.
I mean, yeah, but you the thing is, you have to. So what you because sometimes it doesn't really materialize. So if there's anything that's like the renters' right bill, we've been kind of following it from when they were just talking about it, and oh, is it gonna happen? Is it not gonna happen? So the ones that are important, you just like, okay, let's keep an eye on it. And then some, there's just like fantastic maybe proposals or bills. Is like, okay, that's not really like. So you have to be diligent and focus on you have to decide where you're going to focus your attention essentially.
And what I was thinking, what are the common mistakes when landlords come to you? When a fresh landlord comes into property business, what are the common mistakes that you have noticed from their side?
Yeah, I'd say there are a couple. The first one is pricing the property correctly.
But they're just pricing way too high, right?
Yeah,
Expecting millions.
yeah, and they base it off their feeling. You know, I think it's worth this because, but the market ultimately decides. So I think that's a big one. So managing expectation, and another just doing some like the necessary things to make the property a bit more attractive. I'd say because sometimes it's just like, oh, does it really matter? But it does. Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, from your experience, what are the simple improvements that usually you could make to influence to not have any void periods?
That's a good question, and this is actually tried and tested. Just to give you a bit of a background, so prior to New Age Lessons, I used to work at an estate agency, right? And
Oh, so you've been in this business before?
yeah. I've been in this business for quite a long time, and so that estate agency was more. It wasn't a startup because it was existing for quite a while, but they sort of like got rid of all the staff and it was like building it again from ground up. So we used to do a lot of things ourselves. As in, we used to do go around, take the pictures, do the measurements, for the floor plan and all these things, right? And when I started looking into it and sort of like looking about what makes a property attractive, you know, and one of the things that came up was professional pictures. And I was just like, oh, do you know what? Let me just give it a try, you know? So we like got booked some for professionals and left some without. So I would say, without a doubt, professional pictures makes probably the biggest difference.
So like professional marketing material, right?
Professional marketing materials. Because at that time I was new, so I was really studying. And what I really learned, the biggest thing, I'd say professional pictures, as far as that goes, staging the property is definitely harder.
You guys doing very good job with staging because I've done few of your properties.
Yeah, and that's true through trial and error because sometimes, you know, you just leave it bland and then it was, you know, so staging the property. And I would say it depends. For example, if it's short-term rentals, floor plans are not essential. Long-term rentals, though, I'd say floor plan is essential because we'd have so many people that come to us and without, especially if you're doing sales, it's obviously a must. But even in rentals, because some people would come to you and they'd be like, they don't even view the property unless it's got a floor plan. And the walkthrough as well. The walkthrough
videos.
Again, short-term rentals, no. Long-term rentals, definitely.
Yeah.
Just to kind of touch base on that, because we, based in Central, we just have like a lot of international, tenants coming in, and if they could actually rent the property, sometimes they put the deposit just from looking at the pictures, the floor plan, and the recording because they feel like they've got, you know.
They already have the sense of the property.
They have the sense of the property. Yeah. So it's a good way to even get international.
I wonder, do you guys actually have the study? Do you remember like what would be the difference? Let's say instead of the flat being empty, let's say for 1 week to rent it out and maybe with worse photos 2 weeks. Do you have the data maybe?
This was so long ago. I did that
because I'm
point.
always curious about this.
Not anymore because we just obviously use we use professional pictures, but there was a big, and we did have the data at that time, but it's been so long to be honest. But it's a difference. And so one of the things I was saying, just what you're talking about, landlords, that was one of the things that we used to, now it's kind of accepted that we used to push They'd just be like, "Oh, but can't you just take normal pictures?"
The phone, yeah, with the phone, yeah, just go in there,
Yeah,
do
and
it,
we're
yeah.
like, or they'd be like, "Oh no, I already have pictures of the of the property." Like, no, trust me, you need professional
I've
pictures.
seen some of them pictures how the landlords are doing. It's crazy because at the
Yeah,
end of the day, you have to remember, like when you post on either Rightmove, Zoopla, or wherever you're advertising your
yeah,
property, it's like in dating. If your profile picture is not attractive, no one cares that you might be the best person in the whole London. The same like you could have the best property in the London,
hmm,
but no one's gonna click on it if you don't stand out. Yeah, you definitely guys cracked it and understood it. Like
yeah.
that's why we've been doing this for years now and trying to help landlords just to understand it as well. So you said that you're doing that you're basically advertising your properties as well with walkthrough videos. Where are you posting them, on your website, or you're just sharing with clients or on Instagram?
So, funny enough, this is gonna sound weird, but we don't do a lot of marketing, you know. Yeah, we don't do a
How
lot
you find clients?
because we have from both sides. We have repeat landlords. So we've been actually our business has been growing organically since the start. We've not had a big push in any marketing at all. So and coming into this year, we've been focusing the last couple of years on really tightening up our system and becoming extremely systematic because now we want to really focus on growth and pushing the marketing aspect.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'll give an example. We've got maybe some properties we've had for maybe 6 years, and in that 6 years we've actually only physically rented it once. As in, we rented it initially, and then just through word of mouth, though, it's been, yeah, it's
Wow.
been re-rented. Yeah.
Um, so regarding the marketing as well, I just wanted to ask, like, what would be this one advice you would give to to either landlords or whoever is giving the property to you? Would it be like better marketing material and don't be greedy on saving the money?
Look, it's gonna there is a big difference. Just to be realistic in terms of when you want to market, if you're doing traditional long-term rentals, you do really need to be on Rightmove.
On the right
Yeah,
move?
you need to be on Rightmove because Rightmove is expensive for agents, for landlords, but so some they want to circumvent it. You know, they would use open rent, on the market. They're all good, but if you really want to, reach a wide audience,
So that's the Tinder of property marketing, yeah? Sorry, of property rentals and
you you you
selling,
you
yeah?
you need to be on Rightmove. They're definitely more expensive, but and so like I said, a lot of landlords want to circumvent it. But another one I'd say though, spare room is also another good one. But
Hmm.
spare room is associated with room rentals, but even for whole
You
properties,
can still find
yeah.
it there.
What I'm saying is, really you want to have maximum exposure.
So what do you think, the old school approach, agency, like posting pictures and posts in the windows, it doesn't work anymore, right?
I know, no, it doesn't. Oh, and Facebook. Facebook is
Oh
also,
yeah,
yeah,
Facebook, yeah.
Facebook. Yeah, Facebook. Like you were saying earlier, Facebook, Instagram. If you want to go the traditional route, definitely Rightmove, even Spare Room. If you want to, obviously more,
Yeah, but I
in the
understood like Instagram is more for youngsters. I still want to call us youngsters, but if you want to call a bit, if you want to reach a bit older audience,
yeah,
Facebook is the place where
yeah.
I can't really say older. I'm almost there as well. I'm nearly 40, but if you want to
You
reach like,
still feel young.
yeah, because normally if you think about the demographics, like who are the landlords? Like landlords, they usually young landlord is considered like mid 30s, like us, like reaching 40s. But serious landlords are already in 50s, and Facebook is the place where you want to
Yeah.
reach them. Um, Regarding red flags, I wanted to ask as well, what would be the red flags for you to accepting a landlord? The reason why I'm asking this question, so let's say if someone is listening this one back, you give a red flag so the person would fix them before they approach you. Why wouldn't you take someone on board?
Okay. I mean, this I can give a few. The first one, which is the most important, is a combative landlord. You're trying to when you're entering a business relationship, it's literally that, it's mutual, it's a relationship. But some landlords, they're just combative, as in they just want to do things one way, their way. They ignore any form of advice. So it's like you might as well do it yourself because you're coming to us because we know. So I'd say a combative landlord, because that could be, even if everything starts out great, in my experience, usually it kind of falls through. I'd also say landlords that are very hesitant to do what is actually necessary. For example, they want to circumvent like a rule or a law. The property needs a safety thing, you do it. If the property needs, so if the relationship already starts that way, where for example you consider the property needs a lot of maintenance, but the landlord isn't doing it, because what that does is it puts you in the middle, especially if you're managing it. And then now you're taking the flack from the tenants, and the tenants are thinking, oh, it's because you don't want to act, but you have to get,
So it's a bad life for
authorization from the
you.
landlord. So I would say just, yeah, a combative landlord and the landlord that's trying to circumvent their responsibilities, essentially. That's a big red flag, and also one that's always trying to negotiate price, because
They always
sometimes
want to go for higher, yeah. But
yeah,
then the property is just empty.
yeah,
No
no,
one's
not
renting.
even that. No, I'm saying negotiate price. For example, they want to negotiate price with like your fees. They want to negotiate price with like the works. Sometimes you want the job done properly. It's not always the cheapest, because we've had landlords like that. For example, the property looks amazing initially, but they've used the labor or the contractors have used is so poor that it's just shiny. But as soon as you start to touch things, everything starts to
Oh
fall
my
apart. And then to fix one thing, because it's been done so badly, you have to, and they still don't want to fix it properly. You'd have to do it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Yeah.
Then I have a question. Don't have to name the address or the landlord. What's the worst property you've had? Maybe what's the worst deal you had so far? No names, no addresses. I'm just from your head.
No, I think I don't know if I can name like one specific worst one, but it does literally just fall into that category. It's usually to do with the we've had a few over the years. It's literally to do with the maintenance, and it's just everything is that was a kind of real example. I don't want to give out too much, but everything is breaking
Falling
constantly.
apart.
Okay, I'll give you a bit more. It was one. It was quite a big property. It was a 8 bedroom in East London, and again, initially it looked great, but man, like everything was breaking, everything was, and it was a night. We in the end, we literally had to say, look, we can't. We can't work with you because the tenants are coming to us, but the landlord is insulated. You
Yeah,
know,
you get all the fire.
yeah,
Oh my days.
yeah.
And well, actually, I didn't ask you. When did you guys start all of it? Did you make new age lettings? Are you?
Yeah.
How long you guys been in the market now?
Officially since 2017.
2017. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
since
nearly a
since
decade already.
since 2017. So it's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, and where was your first property? Did you get it in central London?
No, the first the
Because
first
first one is always the most memorable.
the, the first one was in Brixton.
In Brixton.
Yeah, the first property was in Brixton, and oof,
You still have
I
it?
could
You still manage it?
no, I could tell you stories. It was a very interesting relationship with that landlord. He 100% fell into that category of,
Red flags.
didn't want the. If you look back now, a lot of red flags. But this is the thing, when you're first starting out though, and this is what I would say, it's a bit it's just what it is. You kind of have to be a bit more open. So you can see, for example, this landlord is not the best. It's maybe a bit combative, or your values don't align, but you're a new business, so
You
you
want to
kind
just
of
take whatever you can in the
yeah. So
beginning.
so and after a while, when we became stable, we actually started cutting ties with landlords. But here's the crazy thing: we cut ties with landlords, but our revenue and basically everything went up. Because why? The landlords that we're cutting ties with were the ones that are negotiating like the lower fees anyway, that didn't want to spend the most money. And as soon as we did that and we focused on, just quality landlords, we actually, for the same, let's say, amount of properties we actually had a higher revenue with less headache.
Less headache, more money.
you
That's
know?
great.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? Do you actually get better tenants as well if you have like better properties?
100%. But here's the thing, kind of a funny one though. What we actually found, which you would think would be the reverse, the more expensive the property we found, the more relaxed the tenants tend to be. so the more
Oh, they're not penny pushers, yeah?
the more they spend, but not just in general. But when I thought about it, it's like, do you know what? It does kind of make sense in a way because, let's say for example, you're at the lower end, and then you're renting a property, you have a larger chunk of your salary
Going
going
towards
into
it.
the property. So for you, it's a lot more money. So then you tend to your expectations a lot higher because you're like, look, I'm giving you X amount, right? Whereas when you get to a certain bracket, it's not,
Yeah, that
such a
makes
higher
sense.
so now they're a bit more, they tend to be, so if you really wanna have less hassle, the higher end, you actually get,
That's a
and
good advice. Don't go for cheap properties.
yeah.
Eh?
But no, but you can mix it. Obviously, you can. I
Yeah.
think mid range is the best. Is the best. So not something where the landlord isn't gonna do works or isn't interested in actually fixing the property, and maybe not so much high end because it's very hard to come by. So mid range.
Oh, that's interesting. Right. I wanted to ask a few rapid questions, rapid fire questions.
Oh,
It's
great.
like done, 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 done. I'm just gonna ask you a few questions. So if you could answer them like 2, 3 sentences, no more. Not to dive too deep. Unless you want to, we can expand the topic as well.
Okay.
So in one word, maybe in one sentence, describe the market right now.
Oh,
Or where it's gonna be in 1 year. What do you think? Maybe not right now because changes are coming.
I'd say volatile.
Volatile right now. Okay.
Yeah, not now actually, but yeah.
So buyers or sellers, who has more power? What do you think?
Right, even.
They're
I'd say
even, right in the middle.
even. I say even right now. The pendulum kind of swings, but soon buyers.
Most overrated properties in London, basically. Which zone is the most overrated? What do you think?
Overrated.
Yeah, because some people are saying it's only central London. Some people are saying, no, like if you rent the properties outside London, this is the one. What do you think? Which would be the most overrated?
So what do you mean, like overrated? Like it's not really,
Location-wise.
it's not worth it.
Well, you think?
No, that's because when you say overrated, it's
Like people are saying, oh, I live in Westminster. I'm the top of the cream, Which would be the most overrated locations in London?
I would say probably West still holds the thing, so probably around like Knightsbridge.
Knightsbridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
Knightsbridge. Yeah, South Kensington. I'd probably say.
What is one regulation you would scrap tomorrow?
Renters' right bill.
Renters' right bill. No, you didn't even think about it. Didn't even blink about it. Okay. And what's one regulation you actually agree secretly?
Like I said, the ban on the agency fees.
That one you agree, yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you said that you've been in the market since 2017, but what do you think, like before the economic bubble burst in 2008, when was it? So was it easier to rent before? Like, was the market better before, or is it better right now?
I mean, obviously, I wasn't in the game then, but just from what I know, I'd say renting, as in what affordability.
The market itself, what do you think?
I'd say the market was, I mean, before the crash, I'd say it was better then. But the only reason I'm saying, yeah, I'd say it was better then. I think it was, more opportunities, and I think now it's getting harder and harder for people to even get on the ladder, to get into the.
So it was easier before.
It was easier. Maybe too easy, but I don't know. It was easier, yeah.
Yeah, myself, I was just 20 years old. Like
Yeah.
I barely. Well, I do remember. I remember that it was easier, but yeah, things have changed. Can't dwell in the past. Okay, so are agents underpaid, overpaid, or misunderstood?
I'd say misunderstood.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, misunderstood.
Okay. Online agencies. Is it a threat? Is it a threat or is it just a noise?
I said neither.
It's a neither.
Yeah.
Because you're more like a online agency almost, yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, neither.
Best advice for first-time buyers right now.
Ooh.
You're just getting into market of buying, but maybe you have advice.
I mean, it depends. If it's a kind of a long one. It depends. If it's for you, it's different. But if you're buying as an investment, really take into account the location.
Location,
That's
yeah.
it's very basic, but yeah, and
Hmm.
the longevity of, you know, your property. Like, is it easily rentable? Is it? I'd say that's the take into account the location. Yeah.
What is the worst advice you have heard? You've been in this market nearly 10 years. What's the worst advice that anyone has given to you?
Um, I wouldn't say that that there's one particular one, but what I would say, maybe kind of like going back off advice to landlords. Um, so not just me, don't take advice from people that are not in the sector. I'll give you like one. We used to have a lot of landlords, for example, especially when they're first time landlords, and they have a friend, and the friend is a solicitor, as an example, right? And then they start telling you all these things, and but it's not property law because they're not a property solicitor,
Are
you
the
know?
solicitor for
They're
some
just
other
solicitor,
things?
I don't know, like, but they think it's transferable, you know? So I would say don't take advice from people that are not actually in the sector, because there's a lot of misconceptions, you
Hmm.
know, to
So
do with,
get
for example,
professionals, yeah, like
yeah,
regarding the
yeah, yeah,
sector.
yeah, yeah, because yeah, they'll steer you wrong
Yeah,
because
you wanted to give some examples, yeah. No.
oh no
Oh, no,
no.
no. Oh, okay. So is being an estate agent harder than 5 years ago? So actually, that would be like maybe I was thinking pre-COVID. Actually, 5 years ago was exactly COVID. So let's say 7 years ago, because COVID. No, no,
Because I was having to say 5 years ago, definitely harder then.
yeah,
If you say, is it harder? I'd say it's pretty much the same. There's just some, you just have to adapt a bit. I don't think it's a lot more difficult
it's
than
pretty much the
than
same. Yeah, just
it's
more
yeah,
laws.
yeah. It's sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down, but overall, I really do think this bill though is the first thing that's gonna shake up that equilibrium. Yeah.
Looking at other agencies, what do you think? What is one thing they have to improve? Like, if you compare yourself to other people, what do you think? What they could improve?
I mean, I don't really look at other agencies. Oh,
Are you
actually,
not
no, no, no,
comparing
no, no,
yourself?
no. Actually, yeah, I would say this. Um, Understanding who your client is, uh, and I can expand on that because
Yes.
sometimes I think agencies, they forget. Let's say, for example, they're getting paid by the landlords, right? And they act as though is the other way around. So you're actually in service to the landlord. So you need to, because I've been on all the sides, you know. I've worked, you know, prior for an estate agent.
Hmm.
I'm a landlord myself. I've rented my property out to, you know, using an agent. And I would say on just yeah, the landlord is your client, and you need to have their best interest. And if you
So
do,
learn more about them. Yeah. Go
yeah,
out for a
but
coffee,
yeah,
chat.
no, but not even that. Just have their best interest at heart. Like, so understand. So, like, I'll give you an example. With me, I had an agency. I was renting out my property through them, and they were meant to do like this work, for like electrical work, whatever. And they gave me a quote of £800, right?
Hmm.
And obviously, because I'm in the game, at this time I was still fairly young, but I was, in the game, I was like, that sounds excessive. So I was like, you know what? I'll sort it myself. And I was able to do it for £300. And then when I came back to them, they were like, oh, we just, that's just a contractor. They just give us so there's no, you don't feel like they have your best
They
interest
just
at
want to
heart.
charge you
Yeah, because exactly
most.
some agents are just focused on how can we increase the margin? How can
Hmm.
we, rather than look, if you just serve your clients better, you have longevity and you don't have to worry about yeah. So
Mm.
I'd say that would be the biggest thing if I'm
It's a
saying
very good advice
yeah.
because one of the reasons why we're doing these interviews as well, like with yourself or like what we've done with other people as well, is just to know you better. Because I think the better you know your clients or people you're working with, always it's going to be like better networking between each other. That's very, very good advice. All right, next one. This actually wasn't like a rapid fire question anymore, but I like that you
Ah,
dive
yes, sorry.
deeper. No, no,
Go
no, that's cool. Like I said, man, like if you wanna expand, I love it. Like this was
on.
great.
Okay.
Um, oh, next one: paperwork or people. Who is worse?
Paperwork.
Paperwork. Oh no.
Paperwork. Yeah, I'm more for. I choose people over paperwork any day.
Paper. Okay, in that case, emails or calls?
Emails.
Emails.
Yeah.
Although you choose people.
No. I prefer calls.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Oh, so you prefer calls,
calls
yeah?
over emails.
Calls over email. Oh
Paperwork.
my god.
Yeah, and people over paperwork.
So
Essentially. Yeah.
opposite. Like I prefer I prefer emails. You know, it's just it's much easier to communicate with people over the emails. But that's just me.
Yeah,
Don't
but
learn
do
from
you
me.
know what? I think a bit about me. There's a part of me that's impatient, and
You just need it
I
now,
want
yeah.
it now. So I don't want to be. What's the answer? Cool. Done. You know.
Yeah. Plus, I think it's beneficial as well. It just builds connection with the
Yeah.
client. Would you personally buy a property right now in this market?
It depends what you want. I don't think I would buy a property in the traditional way. If I'm being honest, that's in
What is the
renting it-
traditional like?
That's in renting it out to long-term tenants. So yes, but increasingly, even us, we're looking overseas now.
Overseas? Whereabouts?
Yeah, I mean Dubai.
Dubai,
Yeah,
oh, that's-
yeah. So we're looking to build our portfolio in Dubai in this coming year.
Next
Yeah.
year, 2026.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
next interview in Dubai.
2026, yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah.
Never been there, but I
Yeah.
would love to go. What is the most stressful part about your job as being CEO?
I mean, getting contacted by people. Do you know what I mean by that is when someone contacts you, most of the time is because there's an issue.
They never call.
You
I
don't
have
just,
a good news.
yeah. So problem. I'll say problem solving is the big, yeah. So every call, everything, I'm just like, okay, what's the problem?
So I think all your days are stressful because being CEO, it's all about solving problems, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? What's one trend here to stay in property market right now? Or maybe let's start like one trend that will disappear in few years. What people are doing right now, what will disappear in few years?
Yeah, a trend. That's very difficult to say, to be honest. I think it's going to be based on legislations, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not really sure yet, but I've been thinking about that quite a lot. What's gonna stay, what's gonna go.
So we don't know yet.
We don't know yet. Yeah, that's the honest answer. Yeah.
All right. I think these are all my rapid questions right now. So, as a closing, I was thinking, what would be the best advice that you would leave right now for a new landlords? Just like one advice. So basically, when we finish right now, they just look at the end. Chris is saying this.
If you're a new landlord, I would say you should really consider, if you haven't invested yet, what you actually want to get from your investment. That's what I would say, and look to see if you can actually achieve it with the way things are changing. That's what I would say. I would say, yeah, be very mindful, because this sounds a bit gloomy, but I think that the thoughts in the last forever, to be honest, hundreds of years, is that you just get a property in the UK, you know,
Rent it out, live
you rent
green.
it out, and then that's it. You can't go any wrong. In 10 years, the property is gonna increase in value, and then you're good. So I'm not saying that's still not the case, but I'm saying you have to. Okay, if I really want to be honest, you have to have a plan B now. You have to.
That's not the primary one now.
I would say you should have an exit strategy. Is what I would say.
That's a very good
Yeah.
advice. Great. Right. Where can people find you? How can they reach out to you?
I mean, you can just go on our website, probably the easiest. So,
Yeah.
newagelettings.co.uk. And then, yeah, you can also, if you search us up, you can call us.
You guys on Instagram as well?
We are, but like I said, we don't have a very big presence at the moment.
You have to
'cause-
become more active in there.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, just because we've been growing organically for to be honest, since we started.
Yeah,
So
nearly at 10 years already.
we've literally been. It sounds ridiculous, but we've just been growing organically, and we'll be like, oh, do you know what? When we sort of like slow down on the growth, then we'll start marketing, and then it's just it's been building on itself. So it's a good problem to have. I mean, for example, one of the things sometimes the team complains about. Right. I mean, for example, you guys do our pictures for us, right? One of the things the team complains about is just like, oh, we're just relaxing. And the next thing you know, it's like, oh, now we have 3 properties we have to deal with.
You would be happy about it, but then the stress comes.
Yeah, but then so it's like, and because it's sort of like organic growth, it's not really, we're not pushing and getting it. So to be honest, it can happen anytime. So there is a slight disadvantage to that where you can't really like plan. But I mean,
I was thinking actually, so I haven't asked you about AI. I was thinking like, if you guys start growing suddenly, have you thought about implementing AI into your business, or you're using AI already maybe?
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone see we AI is unavoidable, AI is unavoidable. So yeah, I think everyone already uses it. We use for basic tasks, obviously like ChatGPT. We use
Every day.
like Otter AI to record like the minutes of meetings, and it will just give you like actually write the transcripts of what happened, and you can break it down, you can condense it. When we go into obviously the mark, just as an idea, right? So yes is the short answer.
Yeah.
So like even for little things, we're like, oh, let's just update our like logo, because like we are starting to
You
do the
asked
push.
AI
And
how to do it. What's the best one?
no, it's just do this 5 seconds, boom, changed. Whereas before we'd like go to a thing, and then we was like going back and forth, oh, but I want it like this. It was honestly 5 seconds, sent it out. Okay, what do you think? Great. So yeah, we are using AI, and when we start doing this push in marketing, of course we're going to be using it more. Yeah.
Yeah, because I learned it as well. I remember a few years ago, like director asked me, "Oh, can you make a new logo for this and that?" You know, you're just sitting in Canvas, or like I can't remember what were the addresses before. Literally 8-hour task for you to make one logo. Now ChatGPT, help me out. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
like if you're not moving forward with AI, you're just gonna be left behind. I'm just saying, like generally advice to everyone: learn how to use and abuse AI, because it's here and it's staying as well.
But just to add on that, I don't even think you can avoid it. Like actually,
You
like even if you
cannot.
wanted to, I don't think you can avoid it. So I think if you adopt it earlier, you're in a much better position. But even if you don't, it's going to be forced on you. So there's no running away from it.
Yeah, I completely agree to this one. Well, Chris, thank you very much for the conversation.
No, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you. Pleasure.